फलाना बंदे ने बोला है, मेरा वो दोस्त है, उसके अंकल ने 1 करोड़ कमाया, मैं भी कमाऊंगा, बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर शेयर. एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट, इवन आई हैव बीन विक्टिम ऑफ सच थिंग्स.
You have decided मेरे को जीन्स पहन के जाना है, no problem. That's a choice you made. You have no control over the consequence I made or what is my response to the action you take. And you can't expect that from me.
You should do your fundamental analysis first before you put even a single rupee. And people ask me क्या करना चाहिए, किसका advice ले, how to start investing.
So a large part of your evaluation of me comes from what you think is your version of a good presentation.
And I was so scared that they'll ask me some question about University Rule 13B, 5A, what is net, set. I was not even aware.
Good evening, Dr. Sneha and Professor Rege. It's a pleasure to have you over here. I think it's the first time, no, I do not think, but it is the first time we have two guests together. And two professors together, and such is the times that we live in, and Dr. Sneha will agree in terms of personal branding that students are now taking interviews of professors, and I was not your student, but the youngs are taking interviews now. How tables have turned. I kind of remember that dialogue, "Apna time aayega." So,
आ गया time.
But thank you so much for joining in. It's a pleasure. Also, I'm nervous because the kind of profile that each of you carry. I mean, I'm not going to delve deeper into it, but it's so elaborate. You having years and years of experience with corporates and you having a PhD. So it's going to be a lot of learnings for me this evening. So welcome once again to Ekstory. This is our initiative to people from different facets of the spectrum of the finance industry, as well as people from different kind of industries in terms of personal branding that you do, management, and try to understand a bit more and get into those details. So it has to be a very simple conversation that we would have for the next 1.5 to 2 hours. So please feel free to share as much as possible. Right. So, starting, and either of you can start with it. I want to know about something on your childhood side of things. Because I'm sure some of the impacts that would have come during your younger days would have kind of made you choose what you do today in terms of being professors, in terms of doing PhD, working for corporates, and now doing this in terms of teaching the students. So we start from the very basic.
You would like to take? I don't. Okay.
You're young, so you start first.
Oh, okay. So to answer that question, I think as a child, I didn't like socializing with people at all. And I wouldn't say I was shy, but I didn't like a lot of people being around me. And so I don't think a lot of my socialization or my ability to now want people around has come from my childhood. It has been a gradual process of self-evolution. The one thing that I felt that has really shaped me to become who I am today, in terms of the discipline I believe that I have, is when I learned dancing. So I'm a trained Bharatanatyam dancer, and I've learned dancing for over 18 years. And the one thing that it taught me, I started learning dancing when I was 5, and I gave my Visharad Purna in 2013. And I think I was 5 years old in 1996. So I've been pursuing dance that long. And I think the one thing it taught me is discipline and consistency to do something for those many years. So I think the one thing I've picked from my childhood, which resonates to me even today and helps me in this world, is the fact that I think I am consistent and I can do the same things again and again, but I find my own way to do it differently. But I think that is one thing that has helped me from my childhood. Nothing specific.
But you finished your show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, right?
That's it. I mean, my wife, she's also learned it, but she's finished her Iron Gator and then go towards Vishal.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I grew up in the chawls of Girgaon. For almost 30 years I was in Girgaon. And as against Sir Visharad and Bharatnatyam, I learnt my dancing during the Ganpati Visarjan and all that. So that's another way of dancing. Yeah, not as sophisticated as Bharatnatyam.
I used to be consistent with it.
Yeah, ask her. I danced a lot in a marriage. Ask her about it.
Okay. Super.
So we are three brothers, and I being the youngest and a pampered child, and I was very shy and a mama's boy. Like people used to call me in Marathi like "Kayam ahicha padra mages asto laplela" and all that. Mummy ke pallu ke piche, and that is how I grew up in Girgaon, and my entire life I was very comfortable with my chosen friends from school and colleges. We are still in touch with them, and after that, during college days, everybody in my college was from the Gujarati or Marwadi family. So when I was in KC College, by the way, and when people used to talk about Anil Kapoor and Madhuri Dixit, we used to talk about कौन सा IPO आया है, कौन से कंपनी ने बोनस दिया है, कौन से म्यूचुअल फंड में पैसा डालना चाहिए. And that is how the liking and love towards finance developed.
Right in college.
Right in college, when I was in second year, there was one company whose IPO was to come out, and one of my friend, a Gujarati friend, she told me that this is the IPO. She got the big form for me and said, fill it up, and the amount is 10,000 rupees. So tell your dad to give, and you stay at Opera House, Girgaon. You will have a bungalow at Nariman Point, and like a typical second year, third year college student, I went back to my dad, and very sweetly I told him that, Dad, I want 10,000 rupees.
Wow.
And
this is where?
This was in 92, 93. And my dad asked me, why do you need 10,000 rupees? So I said, Dad, shares mein paise lagane. So Dad asked, which company? And I named the company. I don't want to name that company over here, but then I named that particular software company to my dad. Those days the word software was not in. People used to call it computer wala company. So my dad said, वो computer wala company, उसमें 10,000 डालना है, वो कौन वो मूर्ति फूर्ति है, भाग जाएगा US, मालूम नहीं पड़ेगा. Okay, and I said, no Dad, I want 10,000 rupees, मुझे बंगलो लेना है Nariman Point में. So Dad said, 10,000 rupees, do you even know what does that mean to us? My dad's monthly salary was 4,000 rupees back then, and he said, you want my 2.5 months salary for investing it in a company which I'm not even sure whether it will be there a year down the line, because those days that computer was considered as biggest enemy of human being, that computer aaya to mera job jaane wala hai. So I insisted, no, I want that. My dad slapped me and said, see, we are Maharashtrians, we don't invest in shares and debentures and mutual fund. We had all Gujaratis surrounding us in the chawl. So he said that Shah uncle, Patel uncle, it's their job to invest in shares. We Maharashtrians, we will invest in fixed deposit and LIC. My mom was in LIC, so LIC, that's our way of investing. Right. And it struck me over here right at my heart. And that day I decided that the day my first salary will come, I'll start investing in shares, and that is how I started. And my first one was some UTI mutual fund schemes and all. And my first big entry into share market was MRF, and then the rest is history.
Just ask him how many shares of MRF he has.
I had 50 shares, but then eventually, like a typical Maharashtrian, when the 1,200 rupee share became 12,000, I sold 45 out of it, and I still hold 5 shares, and that share is 1.5 lakh now. Wow. So that is how my journey of finance began, and then I completed my CMA India, and I joined a auditor's firm, and through which I got into all big corporates like HUL, P&G, Johnson & Johnson. And then I worked for Larsen & Toubro, Mahindra, Glenmark, Fiat, Parle Agro, and the list is long. Yeah. But then in corporate, there was one thing, like there was a lot of money, to be very honest with you, but the kind of satisfaction that I was looking out for, I wasn't getting it. Okay, what satisfaction money could give me, yes, I was happy with that. You can say that. But then the real satisfaction, like facing yourself in the mirror, that kick I was not getting. So in the year 2014, and from 2010 to 2014, I was teaching as a visiting faculty in few of the leading colleges in Mumbai. And in 2015, I took a big call of leaving industry, sacrificing my 6-digit salary. I guess 6-digit salary and coming back to 5-digit salary. And then I said, jo hoga dekha jayega. And then I entered the teaching field, and since then last 10 years I'm into teaching. And the major idea behind coming into teaching field was to do something for the student community. Because when I was a visiting faculty...
Was there something that happened during their childhood that kind of made you go that way, or just along the years you felt satisfying?
To be very honest with you, my childhood was quite safe and secured. I had 2 strong brothers to support me, and so there was no issue as such. But just to add to that, I've studied in Marathi medium school, so talking in English was a big fear in my mind, and went into a college like KC where everybody was from in the English medium, and first few days I used to literally cry and sit with a dictionary to find out the meaning of certain words. But then later on, as the time progressed, I started learning how to speak English. And as to hear cricket commentary, Harsha Bogles and Sneha Vaskar and Ian Chappell, I used to get up in the morning and start a radio to hear the Australia-England series, just with the intention of listening to how Ian Chappell and Bill Lawry speaks. And effectively, I used to see that particular program, What's the Good Word by Sarvottam Rege. I used to understand nothing about it, but then just the way she speaks, the way she delivers the dialogues and all, that's how the Aaj Kaam Mein Aa Raha Hai. And my dad used to follow one rule strictly, that unless you learn 5 words from dictionary, and he will not let me sleep. And there was one word I typically remember, vulnerable, which I was finding it difficult to pronounce. He made me awake, kept me awake till 2 o'clock at night. And finally, when I did that, he allowed me to sleep. So that's the way of rigorous training I have gone through during my childhood. And as far as the incidence is concerned, there was no such incidence as such. But when I was a visiting faculty, I realized that what I was teaching to my students and what work I was doing in corporate was totally different. So what I was teaching them was not required in the corporates, and what work I was doing in corporate was not part of their syllabus. So I said, if I have to clean up things, I need to get into it and try and sort it out. And I solely entered this field with the intention of bringing in corporate reality into this education field. And I feel with little bit of or a degree of success, I would say, I've done a reasonably good job, if not the best.
I mean, every teacher at the end of the day is very modest about their contribution.
No, and she has a very good contribution. She and along with few more professors, we used to work together in one of the colleges. And she is the one who used to literally push me as to we should do this for student, we should do that for student. I used to get my corporate ideas. Right. She, along with her marketing skills, her PR skills, and her command or language, right. We have done a lot of events together in our college.
So, actually, मैं आज बंगलो आ जाता. Actually, अगर उस time पे
just to complete that story, good that you reminded me. That same friend, just before a year before COVID, we all met at KC College, and her name is Dipti, and we were just thinking, "Arey Dipti kidhar hai yaar, nahi aa rahi hai?" And a Toyota Corolla came. She came out of it, and she asked me, "Arey hi, kaisa hai?" Zara hi hello ho gaya. And then I asked her, "Dipti, Corolla mein वगैरह कोई अच्छा अमीर लड़का फंसा है लगता है?" बोलते नहीं, याद है वो वाला company. She had invested 10,000 in that company. Yeah. By 2019, it became 13 crore 40 lakhs. Wow. Dividend alag se. Dividend not counted. 13, just by way of appreciation, she got 13 crore 40 lakhs. She stays at 13th Road Khar with a terrace apartment. Wow. I stay at Jogeshwari 1 BHK. That's the difference.
I know. It's insane bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Wow. I mean,
amazing. I'm blown as well.
You listen to these kind of stories on CNBC. ना मेरे पापा के पास ये physical shares थे. अब वो मैंने ढूंढे और निकाले, and then Infosys has become so much and so, and then now you kind of come across it in real life.
Yeah, and see, on one of the business channels, there was somebody came on those telephone, asked the expert wala question, and one person said, I have got 2,000 or 20,000, I don't remember. Let's say 2,000 MRFs. And I was sitting with a small calculator. I tried converting it. यार वो बैठ नहीं रहा था 8-digit calculator में. 2,000 MRF. Insane.
Yeah. Crazy. Lot of.
I mean, there are many such stories. You know, Wipro was in 91, 92. Wipro was into double digit.
Yeah.
Let's say in 2001, Titan was 9 rupees.
Right.
And people used to say, "Oh, ghadi wale company mein kaun jayega?" And then came Tanishq and things changed.
Right.
So yeah, there are quite a few stories like this.
Right. So, I mean, I would love to talk just on stalls because that's my interest, but then that will not do justice to the overall thing what you're trying to do. So I just shift the focus slightly on you, ma'am. Who was an inspiration for you to take up dance thing? And we go for that Musharat, and who brings that consistency attitude? As you are in the age of 5, that would not be ingrained in you. You come from someone from the family.
I belong to a Maharashtrian family, and we come from a culture of theatre and folk.
Okay.
So I remember my grandparents in their modest days might compromise a meal of the afternoon, but they are going to watch a Raj Kapoor film every Friday. Okay. So I have been born in a culture like that, wherein my grandparents have lived film and cinema.
Okay.
My parents have lived film, specifically my father. He's watched all movies of Mr. Bachchan twice in the theatre, has said the dialogues along with Mr. Bachchan. He has done Marathi theatre for Sathe College, and there was a play called Moruchi Maushi wherein he had played one of the lead characters, and he wanted to do theatre really in his life. And then
Did he play Maushi's role?
No, he played the wrong role. So then again, the way he said, we come from a very conservative Maharashtrian family, and my grandparents really asked him to take up engineering and do something of his life. So my grandparents were from Dadar, okay, and my father has been born in Goregaon, and he's lived all his life in Goregaon, and so have I. Okay. So my father then took up theatre, and he eventually had to give up theatre because he had to pursue engineering, okay, and then career, settle hona hai and all of that, and he was a bright student. And he used to also play cricket. So what he used to always narrate to me is that academics is given.
Okay.
That is something you have to do in life.
Negotiate.
But you cannot have a life of academics only. And I think I have seen my parents doing that. Even when he was working with Mafat Lal. I think he also did plays for Mafat Lal.
Oh.
So
what kind of plays?
So these were whatever so I think back then you used to have plays of different companies, and they used to perform in one of these competitions, and we used to get prizes. Oh, so really? Mafat Lal, he used to work in a company called Mafat Lal, and I guess that time there were these plays happening at different companies, right, organized by different companies, and they used to participate in a competition. So that was the culture that my father used to narrate to me as a child, and a lot of theatre workshops, dance workshops is something that I used to do in my summer breaks, yeah, and all of that. And my mother was also into dancing, folk dances and all for colleges. So I think a lot of dance drama came from them. So I think the consistency that you were speaking about of dancing, it is pretty much a legacy in the family.
Okay, so it comes from there. But I mean, this is pretty interesting. I've heard of companies going on loggerheads for sports or cricket or football, but not for drama.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing this for the first time.
So I'll tell you, there are a lot of people. There is a person called, if I'm not wrong, I hope I don't get my data wrong, but there's a person called Mr. Arun Nalawade. Okay, he used to work for BST, I think, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. He used to work for. There's this very, very famous Marathi artist who used to work for a company, and I think they used to do plays together. And so there are a lot of people who have left their jobs in this and they've realized they are better at plays than their jobs, and then they've eventually got into Marathi theatre and films, and they've made it big.
Oh, okay.
So
It doesn't happen anymore.
it doesn't happen anymore, and it used to happen in the 90s, and that's the reason even today a culture of play is stronger in my house than watching cinemas and films. So watching a Marathi play, watching a Hindi play is something which is more important than watching films and blockbuster hits and all of that.
Likewise, so if you ever ask me, being a Gujarati, if you ask me ever to watch a play over a movie, I would always prefer.
Same is with me, so in my family.
Yeah.
We prefer play any day, whether it's Marathi play or Gujarati play. we
More
prefer-
real.
Yeah.
And so my mom also grew up in Goregaon, and she lived in a chawl. So some of her neighbors were also Maharashtrian. So I have grown up watching Pula Deshpande and all at my place.
Excellent.
So even my mom is a big fan of Marathi, and I have watched more Marathi series than Hindi. Like Tisra Dola and all those kind of things.
Interesting.
Yeah, they are really a lot more interesting, and also the plays of, or if you actually understand Marathi properly, then those listening to Pula Deshpande and all is actually a treat.
Treat.
It took me a long while to understand because I was not as fluent like my mom. But I get, that once you get that affinity, you don't like anything else.
Yes.
Per se.
Yeah, but in that case, I'm exactly opposite. I do watch Marathi plays and all, but then I have a fascination towards Guchubai and Sujata Mehta's Chitkar and Paresh Rawal's Maharati. All Gujarati plays I've seen.
Gujarati though was with shares, not cases.
I have one Gujarati at home as well.
He is married to a Gujarati.
Acha, okay. Well, I think bungalow ki yahan bani
No, but it's not the same grill.
No, but the back is that Gujarati se with shares.
Yes.
I mean, and I kind of understand that Gujarati thing where talking about shares come from a very young age. So a lot of people, they ask me that, how did you get into this? And I said, though my educational qualification supports, but being a Gujarati, shares and all is an everyday affair. Like
It's in blood. It's in blood. Birth certificate के पहले डीमैट अकाउंट खुल जाता है.
Demat account है, वैसा अलग बात है. Because that conversations keep on happening. So I get that 10,000 story.
See, I'll tell you, people used to come to our classroom. "Hey, आजे सु लेवानु." I mean, in other colleges like चल तेजाब लगा है देखने जाते. Here the conversations were आजे सु लीधु गईकाले dividend आयो के. I mean, those were the talks in our college. So we had, and I was the only Maharashtrian in my class.
Oh.
So all the rest were Gujaratis, Marwadis and Sindhis. And there was one more girl who was Maharashtrian. But everybody else was either Gujarati, Marwadi or Sindhi.
Sindhi. So, after college, you went on to work for all these corporates and all. Few amazing life lessons, you would have learned in these corporates, which you still carry today, and then somehow you try to part them to your students.
Yeah, I'll do that by mistake if I take some names, and please edit it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. See, my basic learning start, I mean, the sanskar as you call it, I got it from my dad, and my dad was a great person. Like, he always used to tell me that कभी भी किसी को help करने के लिए पीछे मत हटना. And it's not that he made me sit and give me those gyans and those doses. No, I've seen him actually doing it. Like when his salary was 1,000 rupees, he used to give like 500 rupees. He was the first graduate in our family, and he was working for government of Maharashtra in Sachivalay. But he had some tussle with his boss, and he threw his resignation on his face and went off. Nahi kaam karna hai and all. Then he joined a private company called Indian Oxygen, which is British Oxygen now. And there he was a unionized staff, and he became a union leader. Eventually, he met Indira Gandhi also and all that in the capacity of the union leader and all. So he was totally dedicated towards doing things for somebody else. And luckily for me, I've got those things through genes. So when I decided to shift from corporate, my first focus was to do something for the students, but then not before I had my lessons learned for 22 long years.
Right.
Like, I worked with certain people, certain bosses. Like, some bosses were so good that, yaar, tu bhik ke aaya, le mera spare shirt nikal ke deta hu. And I've also worked for bosses wherein if I tell him that it's my dad's brain surgery and I need a leave, so my boss would ask me, so what? This work is to be done. Boss, I lost my auntie, I need to go for the funeral. How many people are passing away in your family? Every 15-20 days you're telling me that X expired or Y. I mean, I've seen those levels. I mean, there are certain bosses who are still in touch with me. There are certain bosses who hugged me and cried on my last day in their company that why you want to leave. But at the same time, there are certain bosses whose numbers I have saved differently in the phone. And I wish someday they call me and I call them with the name that I have saved for him. But then they are not calling me for a change. So yeah, in corporate life was very tough, a lot of politics, and I always believed that I will not play politics in my life. And I did that successfully for almost 4 or 5 years when I was junior. And as I started growing in seniority, see, politics is like a chakravyuh, you know, you try to stay away from it, you can, but the moment you start growing big, whether you like it or no, you go closer to that chakravyuh and it cuts you over there. If you don't take evasive action, you're cut into pieces. It's like boxing, you know, if both of us are in the boxing ring and if I don't defend myself, how long I'm going to defend? I have to hit back someday, otherwise the opposite person will hit me back. So there's always action, reaction, but then one good lesson I've learned in corporate is that never do socialism. You know, like first save your own skin and then try and help others. As they announce it in the aircraft, no, that दूसरों की सहायता करने से पहले अपनी सहायता करें. That is one good lesson I learned. And from my initial bosses, I learned one good thing that
If I were to think that, does that go well for the earlier image that you always had that I want to do something for somebody else? And then corporate having a very different side and bringing this. I finding a demon inside your own.
Possibly, I found it very difficult, and till the end of 22nd year, I don't think I felt that I could adjust it to that real cutthroat competition of corporates. You know, I've gone to my bosses and told them that my teammates are not happy with the increment. You reduce my increment and give it to them. Those were the days also, because I felt that a captain is as good as a team. So if my team members are not going to perform, how am I going to perform? How my department is going to perform? How my company is going to perform? So those type of decisions I have taken. I have saved few lives, but then in corporate, what happens, you know, it's like a gun is kept on your head. Shoot him. If you don't shoot, you have to die. So in such cases, there's no choice but to, and I've coined one new term after the 22 years of corporate life. There's nothing called as ethics. You have to be ethically unethical or unethically ethical. So one very good lesson which my recent boss told me is that you are unethical if because of you he or she commits suicide. Second, because of you, if somebody's career is shattered. And 3, you commit any crime against female. These are the 3 unethical things. Everything else is ethical. Okay. So it's like one of the companies where I worked for, you know, and there was a joke about that particular company and the boss who interviewed me. Like he interviewed 50 or 60 chartered and cost accountants and all were good. But they all got rejected because of the one question, what is 2 plus 2? And everybody replied 4. And the last guy replied, 2 plus 2 is what you want to see. You want to see 22, I will make that happen. So this is the, you know, crux of the entire corporate life that I lived in. You know, most of the times we had to dance to their tunes because our competitor has shown a particular result, we want to show this result. So we used to get notes signed by the managing director, this is the sales, this is the profit. Or if cost हमें बिठानी है, and I being the cost and management accountant, it was my job to fit in that cost into it. So heart of the heart, I used to know that what I'm doing is not entirely correct, but then the inner voice in me is to tell me that I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not taking a single rupee or which is not due to me. Then if I'm doing it for somebody else, it's okay. That's what I say, ethically and ethically.
And then one fine day, it's like,
And one fine day I said enough is enough. I mean, it went to an extent wherein, again, I don't want to name anyone or any company over here, but then there were live threats to me, my family. I had to visit police stations and I had to meet some top political people for resolving some company-related issues, and it became too much to handle.
At one point in time.
And on this other hand, I wanted to do something for the student community. So it happened together. The perfect synergy happened, and then I moved out.
As you got perfect scenery, I think it's like two different spectrums, from what you are doing and what you do now. यहाँ मेरे को कुछ politics नहीं करना है, मुझे ये कोई threats वगैरह नहीं, but I feel like you completely.
See, here the problems are my students' attendance is not updated in the portal. He got 19 marks, whereas the passing marks are 20. Somebody is entering 10 minutes late. Somebody is back answering. Somebody is asking me 10 questions. Sir, I have not understood this. Can you explain this to me? I mean, that's okay. As compared to you drive on Western Express Highway, be careful. There are dumpers on the Western Express Highway. Kabhi accident bhi ho sakta hai. So be careful when you drive. It's like a gun on your head. This is much better than that.
It's like the Waqt movie mein Mohammed Irani ka ye to kuch bhi
it's literally like that. It's literally like that. When I see my fellow professors stressed about ye deadline hai, ye karna hai. For me, it was I asked my boss, when do you want this? Boss, I wanted it yesterday. It's already delayed. Do it now. 9 o'clock at night, if I leave, my boss would say, oh, Sarvottam, aaj half day ja raha hai.
Interesting.
Aisa tha.
Very interesting. I mean,
I can't talk for days together on all this.
It's more like a redemption. Want to actually know a bit more, but ma'am, coming to you, what is exactly your educational background? And we know you.
That's interesting. Tell them about CA also.
You are a PhD today, and you are a personal brand consultant, having trained 10,000 plus people. You were a dancer, but बीच में क्या था?
Yeah. So बीच में life happened, NM College happened. So I'm an alumni of NM College as well.
Okay.
So I graduated
In
2012.
Oh, okay.
And at
She was my student, by the way. I have taken her Viva.
Oh no, the Viva. Many years ago. So after I finished class 10, we were all thinking what is to be done, and obviously just like any uninformed, I think today students are much informed, but back then like most of the uninformed students, I was also like, science to mujhe karna nahi hai, arts I'm not good at reading, so what's the obvious choice? Commerce. That was the mindset in which I got educated.
You were good in studies?
Yeah, I was good in studies. And then it was a task to convince my parents to send me to NM. Because they're like, nahi, it's all show off, the crowd is like that, we come from very middle class, modest Maharashtrian background, we can't afford so much luxury. And not all of that, but then things like, it's a very posh environment and I don't know whether you'll be able to survive
good
there.
shoes.
More than that, to be very honest, there were a lot of people in NM who were Gujaratis and as you said, were very acquainted to the Maharashtrian culture. So even when I went to NM College, I had maximum friends who were Gujaratis and Marwadis back then.
Yeah.
But we were like an ecosystem having so many things in common, like plays, wanting to do something in sports. So life without cell phones and all was very different back then. I'm sure you'd also agree to that.
Totally.
So when I went to NM College, I did my class 10, class 11, class 12, and then like every other NMite who is doing BCom, I registered with JK Shah classes to do CA.
Oh, wonderful.
And then in my IPCC, I think I got exemption in 2 subjects, but I was not clearing the accounts paper.
Okay.
And my friends had told me very clearly, I don't think you'll make a good CA. So tu mat kar CA, tu chhod de. So
why this?
Because the moment you ask me to make some trial balance and some adjustment entries, I used to be like, I want to pair this paper. But you ask me to write an OC paper, you ask me to write something which has to do with services and marketing management, you'll see all great notes. The moment...
आप वो स्टूडेंट थे जो हमेशा सप्लीमेंट
मैं सप्लीमेंट नहीं लेती थी पर मैं आगे बैठती जरूर थी. I wouldn't deny that. And then just like what everybody else was liking when we used to do sums of internal reconstruction and all, I remember students being in that class who would say, sir, or ek sum. And I used to be like, when do I leave? And that's when I realized that I don't think I fit the place.
Yeah.
And I decided to not do it. And I have a friend called Dhananjay who took me to a place just to bring in some sense in me, saying that I don't think you're cut out to do CA. And I think I will never forget him for actually making me realize.
What's his name?
His name is Dhananjay.
Dhananjay.
I will never forget him for making me realize that you are not cut out for it. And if you can't tell your parents, I will call and tell your parents, don't mess your life.
Yeah.
And it was him, and I have another friend called Akshay. Akshay is my best friend and closest friend, who told me, we'll find something for you. And then they found all career options for me, and then they mapped career options, and they said, okay, I think you could be great in media or journalism or PR or teaching. So teaching, back then, I was like, teaching though I used to do as a child, माँ बाप को बिठा के पढ़ाना, but I don't think I can take it up as a career option.
माँ बाप को बिठा के.
As a child, I used to be like, everybody sit down, yes, you present. So
आप पढ़ा के
maybe
front bencher थे. Okay.
So I don't know whether that it was destined to be or not. But then when I finished, and suddenly during that CA phase, I stopped scoring well. I just lost a lot of balance in my life because I just felt I was not in the right position and place because I didn't like what I was doing. So I had a few teachers also suggested the same, and then later on, when I decided to complete my BCom and do MCom, and simultaneously gave my exams for NET-SET. These are state and national level exams for teaching.
Okay.
So I gave those exams, I qualified, but I had kept it as a backup. And then I decided I'm going to give CAT, I'm going to do my MBA, I'm going to join a corporate of media studies and PR. I'm going to have like a good career. I'm going to be there somewhere on some brand shoot, and that's how my life is going to look.
Okay.
And then I joined a college called ML Dhanukar College, and I never went back to any corporates. I think I just realized in that 1 year of my life, this is exactly what
For doing MCom, you went?
No, Dhanukar is where I got placed as my first teaching job.
Okay.
And when I went to Dhanukar College, I mean, I'm never going to forget that institution in my entire life. The principal of the college, Dr. Madhavi Pete, for giving an opportunity to me to teach without my MCom being cleared. She said, I see something in you. I don't know, let's see, nahi hoga pass to baad mein dekhenge, but you teach now. And I don't think I had sent across my resumes to all colleges. Physically gone and told in the office, hi, my name is Sneha, I'm applying for a teaching job. Yeah. And I just got called from one college, which was ML Dhanukar College, because they had a vacancy. They took my interview and they said, okay, why don't you join? I joined for a stipend, money, whatever, of some 6,000 rupees after clearing NET, SET, being a graduate from MCom. And people were asking me, what are you doing with your life? You can get so much money, but you're working for 6,000. I think that's where parenting plays an important role. My mom, she told me that when you are getting 6,000, they're still paying you more because you don't know how to teach. They are experimenting because nobody has taught you how to teach. You are going to be experimenting on the kids with whatever you know in terms of teaching. So it's okay with whatever they pay you. So I took my job very seriously. And my mother used to always tell me one thing. If you go to a job and do what is required, that's given. But if you do something which is more than required, that is what is going to make you stay. And I think she applied the same in her job as well. So when I went over there, I used to finish my lectures pretty much by 11 o'clock. But then I used to ask, आप क्या कर रहे हो? तुम क्या कर रहे हो? तुम कैसे पढ़ा रहे हो? मुझे दिखाओ, तुम research paper कैसे लिख रहे हो? तुम कौन से committee में हो? How are students liking your session? Can you explain that to me? So maybe that developed, and I think the next year I got a call saying, we are shifting you to teach the BMS program, and my salary now was 40,000.
Wow. And this
is when I was 22. I didn't know what to do with 40,000. I didn't know. So that's how I started my teaching journey. And now when I started it, back then when I left CA in 2011.
But before that, did you treat your friends?
Of course, I have told them I am eternally indebted to you in your life.
She's still treating them.
I am still treating them, and I told them in your life. Okay. If there's anything you need, including my property, I'll give it to you. Because I've made it because of you.
No, in fact, at BMS and self-financing courses, we were interviewed together and we joined on the same day. Yeah. And then her inquisitiveness to learn new things. Every day she used to come to my room with the Economic Times. Sir, what is this? Please explain me this and all that. So that is how we started working together.
There are two things which are so beautiful in this real story that you mentioned is the road of friends
Yeah.
And it's so heartening. And today when I look back, I also did my CFA because two of me and my friend, we used to play cricket and we wanted to play cricket, but खेलते कैसे अगर पढ़ाई नहीं करते, because पढ़ाई से prerogative. So ये दोनों में मेरा अंकल ने बोला है because of the finance field, CFA बहुत अच्छा कोर्स है, तो ये करते हैं जिसके से मम्मी पापा भी खुश रहेंगे और अपन भी क्रिकेट खेल पाएंगे. And then today I realize that important when I'm talking to you that how friends play that, and to still in this world of data, gut calls are so important. As with Pete,
Yes.
taking I see
Yes.
something in you.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean it's so nice moment.
See, the same lady took me also in because I was an out and out corporate guy and I used to teach in the same college, Ranokar College, as a visiting faculty. And that has also got an interesting story related to a friend of mine. Okay. Her name is Tejashree Date, and we used to work way back in 90s in the audit firm. And when they had some work in income tax, and my company was Parle Agro at Ville Parle. So I got down at Ville Parle and I was having Vada Sambar in the Ramakrishna Hotel, and I got a call from Tejashree. She's like, "Kidhar hai?" I said, "Parla mein." "Kidhar?" Bola, "Ramakrishna." "Aaja." Bola, "Kidhar hai?" "Danukar College mein." So I went there and she said, "Kya kar? Matlab, tu yahan kya kar rahi hai?" She said, "I'm the VBI coordinator over here. So guest lecture lega kya?" I bola, "Means?" I wasn't even aware what guest lecture meant. So she said, कुछ नहीं रहे, जाके स्टूडेंट से बात करके आ, तेरा कॉर्पोरेट एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर. So I said, I have never spoken to a crowd of 60 people, and that too in English again. So she said, go and start talking to them, tell them some stories, and it will be done. So I went to the class, and first 15-20 minutes, like I was like butterflies in the stomach. I took a break. I said, guys, let me just have a cup of tea. I came back to her. I used to call her Teju. I said, Teju, नहीं होता है, नहीं हो रहा है. तो जा रही कुछ नहीं, बोल कुछ तो भी स्टोरी बता के आ जा तेरे कॉर्पोरेट की. So I started my laptop and I showed them Fruity ka cost sheet, and they just loved it. And till date, I'm showing the same Fruity ka. And then when we were interviewed together, Dr. Madhvi Pete, she told me the same thing, that you're from corporate. You may or may not turn out to be a good teacher. But I know one thing, that you have very good experience. Even if you share your experience with my students, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't want, and the interview was also an interesting story. Like when I was interviewed, like they were all academicians sitting all across, and I was so scared that they'll ask me some question about University Rule 13B, 5A, what is net set. I was not even aware. So luckily for me, Dr. Pete told me, yeah, Mr. Rege, why you want to leave corporate and come into teaching field? And for the next 35 odd minutes, I was talking, and those guys who had never seen the corporate world, they were like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, good, that's great. And then end of this interview, Dr. Pete said, you're in. So it really helped me that, the lady really helped me in getting into corporate today, getting into academy. No, she is retired now.
She's retired.
But we are still in touch with her.
I'm sure. I mean, whatever, I think a lot.
And coincidentally, her birthday falls exactly a day after my birthday. So I wish her every day. And even on Guru Purnima, I make it a point to send a message to her.
No, because in her current journey, she been really pivotal.
Yeah.
For both of you, and that commonality. What was your first lecture like? Any memories? Like the way he has it, like.
So my first lecture, unfortunately.
Tell you what happened in lift when the person was not available.
Yeah. So firstly, on my first day, I couldn't make it because I was unwell. And the second day also I couldn't make it. And the third day also I couldn't make it. So I was getting very scared. Now they will call me and they will say, you please don't join. So I actually was very nervous when I came on the first day. And I knew which class. So I spoke to somebody in the office and they said, you have to go to this class and you have to take this session. So on the first day, I was anyway nervous. And when I entered, the watchman Dada asked me, I-card kidhar hai? I said, mere paas I-card nahi hai. And then the same story, then he was very senior. He was very senior and said, like, आप कुछ भी कहानियाँ मुझे बताओ मत, मैं आपको जाने नहीं दूंगा.
Either you're a student.
Yeah, he thought I was a student. And then for the next 15 minutes, in that anxiety, I was telling him, pleading him, please let me go. Then eventually he called some peon who used to look after that staff room. He didn't recognize me as well. He's like, nahi, mula ugas पण काय पण बोलतात. Nahi, पाठ बाहेरच उभं करत आहे ना. Eventually, the principal was walking down and she saw me. I said, ma'am, they're not letting me in. So she just said, nahi, she's a teacher, you can let them in. So that's how my first day started.
Wow.
And my first class was pretty interesting. It was pretty, I was very nervous. But
What were you teaching?
my first class was an advertising class. Okay.
How did that come?
Because when you get selected, my domain was general management.
Okay.
There are certain subjects that fall in general management, which you then become eligible to teach.
Okay.
So advertising was one of them. So my first class was on advertising for my SY BCom students.
Okay.
So I went quite prepared in terms of cases and example of Apple, what is to be done, how did they position themselves, USPs and 4Ps. So I was very prepared like an NM student.
All right.
But I realized that as seeing a class of 100 people, my feet were shivering and I didn't know what this, because now I don't have to just share my experience. I also have to bring some value
To the students.
to the students and the time that they are investing in attending my class.
Right.
So I think my first lecture, if I have to give a credit, it turned out pretty decent. But if I have to give the credit of my first lecture, it totally goes to the students, because it was much later that I realized that they knew it was my first class and they intentionally behaved well so that I'm comfortable.
Oh.
Wow.
And I will never, and that's why I told you,
Do you have such kind of students today?
I do have some students who are like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't deny there are some students, but
Really nice of them, yeah.
that's what I'm saying. ML Dhanukar College in all ways, right from my colleagues, to my students, to my bosses, to my spouse. I met my spouse in Dhanukar College.
Okay.
And I met him
Fellow professor.
I met him and I married him because of the principal of the college.
Yeah.
Okay, she did that also.
She did that also.
Totally
Oh
different.
my God.
I think
I want to do this really now.
and I'm telling you, there was some divine intervention in her form that has taken place in my life, which I can never forget. And thus, even today, if anybody from Dhanukar College calls me and tells me, can you do this? My answer is never going to be no. Never.
Yeah.
Even for the next 10, 20, 30, how many years I'm there.
Yeah.
Because I think whatever I am today, it's because that one lady and that one set of people who were sitting at that panel that day felt isko chance dena chahiye.
I really want to meet this person. I mean, it's so amazing. Yeah.
She's visionary actually.
Visionary, and she took care of the person all along, not just on the professional side,
Yeah.
but we even have an impact on the personal side.
See what she told me, like, if you allow me to take some names, she told me that you
Full liberty.
go and teach in NM and Mitibai as a visiting faculty. See what are the good things over there. Observe it. Come and tell me. We will get it over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while taking my lectures in NM and Mitibai, I used to walk down on the stairs without taking the lift to see which departments are where, what clubs they have, how their canteen looks like. Everything I used to observe and come and tell Dr. Pete that this is how NM and Mitibai.
I really wish she somehow watches this.
We will definitely send her the link. Yeah.
And even the ML Dhanukar trustees and all, because even I have been born and brought up in the Andheri Parla. When you talk about colleges, Dhanukar actually never featured in the list of most of us.
Yes. Yes.
But the institution and the lady that you're talking about and what they've created is actually worthwhile to go out and let people know that it's a fantastic place.
Culturally, it's a very good college. The teachers are fantastic. Students are humble. They are from the humble background.
Because when you talk about Ville Parle and college, it just ends at say Mitibai NM and maybe goes to slightly Bhavans. तो वहाँ खत्म हो जाता है. Dhanukar वगैरह का,
We had many students whose parents who were not doing well, or there was a student who lost both her parents during COVID. एक लड़के की mom was a maid somewhere, And the students were so close to both of us, rather. Like few students to come and tell me that, sir, I don't have father. Can I call you Baba and all that. So that emotional connect was always there. It was a very tough decision for both of us to leave that college and get into NM and NMIMS. It was a really tough decision.
So this is your second job
Yes.
You started with ML Dhanuka.
Yes.
And then you shifted to NM. When was this?
I shifted to NM in 2017.
Okay.
That's been 8 years now.
8 years. And until then you taught advertising?
Yes. So I've taught advertising, marketing management, principles of management and managerial, and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And my PhD is in entrepreneurship, and that focuses on soft skills and the image part of it, that is personal branding part of it.
And when did you finish your PhD?
I finished my PhD in 2021. That was, so actually submitted my thesis in 2020, but due to the pandemic, my Viva got delayed by a year, and I gave up.
My thesis was?
My thesis essentially focused on the significance of clothing, body language, business etiquette
Okay.
for entrepreneurs when they do presentations and have daily operations or management with their team. So what kind of clothes to wear, what cuts, if Indian, what clothes, if Western, what clothes, what should be the length, what should be the color combination, and all of that.
How big was that?
Huh?
How big was the thesis?
No, my thesis was not big. My thesis was like around 180 pages. 180 pages. And that's considered to be quite okay. You have people who would have theses of 400, 300, 250 pages. Mine was not that much. I can't write so much.
She's not telling you, but she's one of the youngest PhDs, if not the youngest.
No, I am not the youngest.
One of the, I would say.
Yeah.
She got a PhD at the age of what, 28?
29.
29.
It's commendable. Like, I mean, you're 29, I mean, doing a PhD.
But I'll tell you in
What was
detail.
it? Also, sorry to cut, but what was the inspiration also? Kind of, if you can.
So I think when I did, I attended a course on image management and soft skill from an institute called Image Consulting Business of India.
Okay.
Okay, and this institute, Image Consulting Business Institute, in India, I have learned image management and soft skills. So in image management, we used to focus on clothes and all, and I really love fashion. I really like reading about it, and specific focus on Indian fashion.
Okay.
And when we used to do a lot of assignments, I realized that the moment I used to type Western, the moment I used to type formal clothes, I could only come across Western clothes. So the pants and those tops, and then and that's when I realized that image management class used to teach us a lot about how can you style the same thing in India.
Okay.
And that is something which interested me, and I took special interest in Indian fabrics and Indian clothes and all. And I then decided if I ever do my PhD, I will either not do it or I will do it only in this subject. So I think I had 3-4 rejections because they said this is not in alignment to education. And I knew my vision that if I do this, I don't think I have met anybody till date who has a PhD in image and management combined. Maybe I have not met enough, but I don't think whoever I have met. So I felt that my topic was very unique, and I had 3-4 people who rejected, saying this doesn't match with the education sector and all. But I always knew I want to get into corporate trainings after I do this.
Okay.
So that was my inspiration to do a PhD in image and soft skills.
So you do corporate training?
Yes.
Also, right?
So, and this PhD is exactly what helped me. See, I have read a paper of 1960 which told me how we've transitioned from clothing as something to cover your body to clothing as a piece which is used for adornment.
Okay.
If I don't read literature, if I'd never read literature on clothing, I wouldn't have been able to add such kind of value addition to people as to why clothes are important today and why they were not important back then.
Okay.
Today when I'm wearing whatever I wear, let's say if I'm wearing something as like a Will's lifestyle shirt, or let's say if Alan Solly, or if an Arrow, or if a Louis Philippe anti-wrinkle, why are people spending a 4,500, 5,000 on an anti-wrinkle shirt? It's because they no longer wear it just to cover their body. They're wearing it because they might be doing a job wherein they have to go places, they have to travel, and they are at important senior positions. So that anti-crease is something which makes them look presentable. So all these literature is what I read, and I was exposed to all of this literature only and only when I did my thesis. Okay. So I can get a lot of academic plus application in terms of presentation of my sessions, and I think that's how my PhDs helped me in corporate trainings.
So then, what do you teach right now in?
So right now in NM College, again the management courses, I take entrepreneurship as a subject. I take a subject called media, culture and society. How do you write on media? What do you write? How do you express your opinions?
Okay.
I teach soft skills. There's one small part for soft skills also. And I go as a visiting faculty to IMA-USA's MBA school, that is School of Business Management, to teach ethics in management. So most of my subject topics delve either around how you present yourself in terms of your visual presence, or how do you present yourself as a manager in terms of ethics, in terms of body language, in terms of organizational behavior. So I think that is something, those topics and courses which are aligned to those topics is what I teach.
Understood. I suddenly feel that we are being judged now.
The moment she started talking about Alan Solly and Arrow, I looked at my shirt.
Yeah, and there have been hundreds of times that people who are close, like I remember there have been times when I've told them, what color shirt are you wearing? Please, this is not suitable for the event. But as you evolve, you realize that not being judgmental is the first rule of a personal brand consultant. So I'm also learning.
No, but she has given me quite a few compliments also that this particular shirt looks good on you.
Yeah.
I still have that shirt.
But I mean, should I pity your husband, or I say that nahi yaar, ye lucky hai banda because he does not have to do anything?
That you'll have to ask my husband.
And I'm sure you would be having an eye on him also, right? What he wears.
I think his wardrobe pre and post marriage, he might not be able to identify his own clothes before he got married now.
I'm sure they will not even be there, right?
No, they were not there the moment we started dating. They were not there, like out, nothing. So yeah.
You should ask a 3-year-old son.
Yeah. That day he by 3, but I think, kids have their own way of giving it back to you.
Yeah.
So I told my son, I think you should wear.
वहाँ कुछ नहीं चलता है.
कुछ नहीं. I told my 3-year-old son, why don't you wear this? And he said, no, but that color is not in the shirt. I'll not wear it.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. No problem.
I have a 4-year-old son and he has choices. He said, no, Mama, I want to wear this means this. Yeah. And you can't do it. They are hell-bent on that. And until they get that, they throw it and throw. So I'm sure...
with my son, I don't think I've been able to find my way to convince him.
When I was 3-year-old, my favorite color was red. And I used to wear red shirt, red trouser. And my dad... my dad used to take me to Gamdevi. There was one tailor called Vinod Tailor who used to stitch clothes for me when I was 3-4 years of age. And I used to wear those bell bottoms the way Amitabh Bachchan used to wear those days. So red was my favorite color.
I mean, but slightly digressing, but those bell bottoms and those long side locks and those long hair also had some kind of snag.
Yes.
You still see Rajesh Khanna old movies and Amitabh Bachchan old movies with this long side locks and kaan pe baal and all.
So, I mean, you've trained 10,000 people with respect to the personal branding, and now of lately it's become so important and so imperative to create. But is it just that the personal brand is about the exterior part as to how you carry yourself and what you wear, or it has to be kind of matched with some kind of substance that a person has, and how one should blend, like what is the proportion of that?
So most of the corporate trainings that we do, those trainings start with like an hour or hour and a half, and everybody expects magic in that 1.5 to 2 hours. And towards the end, I do make it a point to tell them, when you do something for an hour, it is trying to change something which is very exterior and which is probably very shallow.
Okay.
If I have to change something which is very deep and enrooted within you, doesn't happen in an hour or 5. It's a journey that people take. So to answer your question, I've always had this one rule: knowledge is above everything.
Okay.
So even if I have the best presentation, but when I'm sitting at this table, and I don't bring any value to the conversation, even if I speak as well, as great as what Mr. Shashi Tharoor does in terms of use and eloquence of language, I don't think people are going to appreciate that, because I'm not adding any value to the day. So just by being good at English or Hindi or Marathi or whatever language you are conversing with, being fluent and prolific in the language alone might not help you.
Right.
So for me, the first rule has always been, for whatever corporate trainings I do and even for myself, when I train anybody, it's to ensure that if you are a cake, I help you present yourself well. But the substance of the cake and the quality of the cake cannot be shattered. You have to maintain that quality. So today, if I go for a corporate training, if there is no value addition content that I have while I'm having a conversation, even if I wear the best of clothes, even if I have the best of accent in what I speak, nobody cares because I'm not adding anything to them that they didn't know.
Yes.
So first is your knowledge, then followed by your inner mannerism, your etiquette, which I feel has a lot to do. In psychology, we say that has a lot to do with your family and your initial upbringing up to the age of 6.
What do you mean by inner mannerisms?
So, for example, there are certain things that you learn and you pick up in terms of, okay, I'll give an example. My husband is very organized and he keeps things at their places the same time. And over the years, I've also learned to do that. So the moment my son comes home, he'll remove his shoes and he'll keep it in the shoe rack. If he knows the shoes are wet, he will keep it slanting to dry it, and then when they're dry, he will keep it. He's 2.5. But that is inner mannerism because he's seen us doing that. Alternatively, if he sees us doing something negative, he'll pick that up as well.
Yeah.
So a large part of how he reacts and behaves has a lot to do with what they pick up in this 5 years, and that essentially comes from the family because largely they're exposed to family till the time they're 5.
Right.
And then gradually you have friends and peers and all these influences. So a large part of your self-confidence comes from your conversation skills, comes from were you told to stop when you were being curious? Were you told to shut up when you were talking a lot? Were you not allowed to express yourself as a child? So a large part of what you become has a lot to do with either a childhood trauma or a childhood reinforcement.
Right.
So that is next after your knowledge. So if there are certain corporate training, individual one-on-one trainings wherein I've realized that there's a lot of childhood trauma because of the parents. So when the child wanted to express, he was or she was over-expressive. So the parents used to be like, just sum it up fast, I don't have time to listen. So the child stopped talking. So now he's a reserved personality, but actually he doesn't want to be one. The fear of the fact that maybe if I speak too much, others will be like, chal na, baat mat kar. So that too, for me to get that thing eliminated from his life is going to take a lot of time.
Right.
Because that is his inert, that is what he's been practicing for many years.
True.
And the last one, which is the easiest one to shed off, is the exteriors. Changing your clothes, changing a little bit of your hairstyle is something which is important. But I'll tell you what's the problem over here. If I recommend to him, let's say he's always liked keeping this beard. Okay, if I tell him tomorrow go clean shave, that's not the personality he is.
Yeah, we're not able to carry.
He'll not be able to carry it, he won't enjoy it. So when we learn these kind of trainings, we also learn to understand if this is a personality who likes XYZ things, how can I work my way around him or her, ensuring his or her business, plus ensuring his or her own identity. Otherwise, everybody will look identical. So that is, I think these are the 3 important things which I feel, that's the logical sequence in which they go. But usually people do the reverse.
Yeah. And you don't take the identity of the person out. Like if Bumrah's coach would have told him to, jump and bowl, he would have never had a win.
Bumrah.
So that's okay. Interesting.
Very deep thought, actually.
Yeah. And actually, it's about not the exterior part, which is a third part you said, but a lot is to do with the first 2, where psychology, which is the middle part, plays a very important role.
Yeah.
And that is why it caught my attention, because I keep sharing at Ekvity also that we are in the field of finance, but actually we are in the field of psychology. When we talk to clients and when markets are doing well or not doing well, it's at the end of the day managing psychology. The numbers come secondary. Coupled with the fact that coincidentally my wife also has a background of dancing and psychology. And she's a psychologist. So she's a psychologist.
Okay.
Great.
So conversations at home are a lot about psychology. And when you talk about psychology, you feel a lot deeper because
Yes.
it's about actually understanding so many different facets. I really got intrigued about like how we do this entire piece and how you stitch it together. Interesting. So, Rege sir, you've come from the industry field and now to finance, and somehow you feel that registered investment advisors, the RIA client, is the right way to assist investors, right? So if you can shed some light, because it is a term you would not associate a lot of people talking about. It's more about wealth managers, mutual funds and all. But as investment advisors के बारे में इतना India में there's not that kind of a popularity.
Yeah, because कैसे होता है, every individual who understands a little bit of finance, he or she feels that he knows everything. See, now I've been investing in equity markets since 1992-93.
Yeah.
Okay, after 30 odd years also, I feel that I know maybe 50% of it. It's such a huge, it's like an ocean, I mean,
Right.
somebody who says I know everything, either he is lying or वो झूठ बोलता है. There is no third option to this.
Right.
So wealth managers and the advisors, first of all, I would say those who understand finance,
Right.
they should first read the fundamentals for any investment. We all have studied commerce and accounting and finance during our graduation.
Right.
Some of us are chartered accountants, management accountants, and
Right.
MBA finances. We should read through the balance sheets. And reading balance sheet means I teach my students also. I mean, in fact, today morning also I was telling one of my students that what presentation you make is based on the data that is visible. You should be able to read between the lines
Right.
and then decide whether the company is good from the investment point of view or no. But we have got herd mentality, like फलाना बंदे ने बोला है, मेरा वो दोस्त है, उसके अंकल ने 1 करोड़ कमाया, मैं भी कमाऊंगा, buy this particular share. And to be honest, even I have been a victim of such things.
Yeah.
Based on my childhood friend's advice, I had invested in one of the companies
Right.
because he said it's going to get double. It became double, but then later on the company was under income tax and ED scrutiny, and then today that share which I had purchased was 70 odd rupees, which had gone up to 240. Today the price is 35 paisa and it is non-tradable.
Right.
Okay, so these are the experiences which teaches you that you should do your fundamental analysis first
Right.
before you put even a single rupee. And people ask me, क्या करना चाहिए, किसका advice ले, how to start investing. I would tell them that you sit with say 2,000 to 5,000 rupees or whatever is your affordability below 10,000 rupees. You sit with that amount, start investing or trading, whatever your choice and preferences are, and you should ensure that you lose that money. So because unless you lose that money, you will not have that bomb under your seat. And you will not feel that pinch. Treat that amount as your learning fees.
Right.
And once you lose money, you will know how to earn money. But in India, in our society, people want quick rewards, quick results. कुछ टिपे तो बोलना यार, पैसा लगा था 1 लाख, कल 2 लाख हो जाएगा. It never works like this. That Lakshmi Chit Fund, 21 दिन में पैसा double, it works. It doesn't even work in movies, forget in real life. So role of advisors is very important, but I have seen few advisors and distributors who tell their clients who are not from finance background something which is in the interest of themselves or their company,
Right.
rather than in the interest of the client. So customer is a king, who conveniently भूल जाते हैं, and then they start selling the schemes which are beneficial to their masters rather than to the client. And there the entire purpose of these mutual fund advisors or these wealth managers, it is defeated straight away.
Right.
So I feel there has to be, I just mentioned in the first segment about ethically, unethical and not, but then some kind of ethics or some basic rules every advisor is expected to follow. Because see, I have a friend who is a doctor, who is a pediatrician, and he talks to me always about कहाँ invest करूँ, क्या करूँ. I don't give him advices off the cuff. I ask him what is the amount that you would like to invest. These are the 10 options available to you. You decide where you want to invest.
Yeah.
The ultimate decision is yours, boss, because it is your money.
Money.
And one fact I have learned very hard way, that when it is somebody else's money, you should be more careful.
Careful. Yeah.
You see, so that way the wealth manager should guide their clients in professional way rather than just money making way.
Right. So, when you dispose this kind of knowledge also to your students, but in the kind of world we are living in, of there's no delayed gratification, it was instant.
Instant. सबको आज ही अमिताभ बच्चन बनना है.
So, what is the kind of response do you get? Or maybe if I have to just put in comparison, what response you got in 14, 15 and the response that you get today, how different is it?
Oh, there's a sea change.
Okay.
14, 15 students used to ask me like, sir, where do I invest so that I can earn steady flow of money throughout my life besides my salary income? Nowadays, the queries that I get are, sir, how do I evade tax? Show us some tricks through which I can evade tax. गवर्नमेंट को क्यों पैसा देने का? रोड में तो इतने गड्ढे हैं, बॉम्बे जैसे सिटी में भी दिस लॉट ऑफ ट्रैफिक. व्हाई शुड वी पे टैक्स? सो देयर इज अ मेंटालिटी शिफ्ट totally from what it was in 14, 15 and what it is now. Typically, I play a game in the class which I used to play in Dhanokar also, and now also I play. That during presentation, I ask students to present a company to me, and based on their analysis about that particular company, say there are 10 groups, so I'll get hold of 10 companies' data, and they will suggest me that, sir, invest in my company. And out of those 10 companies, I'll select one company, of course, after doing my personal research also, and I will actually invest 5,000 rupees in that and give the proof to the CR that, see, I have invested. After 1 year, if there's a profit, I share that 50% profit with that particular class, and 50% is mine. If there is a loss, the entire class has to give me one vada pav and chai. And I've been doing it successfully with
Per
God's...
student ki ek?
No, pure class se will ke. Because you can't... it's seen differently if we take anything from the students. So, with God's grace, in last 10 years, I've never lost any money, or I've always earned profit through that. So,
and that's very satisfying that whatever you're teaching.
Yeah, and students are very happy. And see, they get that satisfaction that I suggested a company to sir and he earned money because of me. So there I try and teach them that when it is somebody else's money, you better be responsible. Don't give just hanky-panky companies to me. Some people come with, sir, ये company है, Z group वाला है, 3 दिन में double हो जाएगा. I said, boss, sorry, I am not interested in such things. But today's generation, what I have seen, and specifically at the moment, the students that I am seeing, they are more into, they are money minded, to be very honest with you, like how fast we can earn money. There's nothing wrong in being money minded, don't get me wrong, but then their entire focus is on how I'll get the degree, what is the joining package that I am going to get. When I've seen people rejecting big company jobs that, sir, they are just paying 8 lakh per annum. Boss, I started at 500 rupees stipend. Okay, there was a time value of money involved in that, of course. But then 8 lakh per annum for an undergraduate student, it's not less. But then they want 20 and 25 lakhs, which probably nowadays the IIMs are not getting. So times are changing, mindset is changing, people are instant gratification, as you mentioned, people are they want everything quickly, you know, Maggi 2 minutes noodle. They don't want to go through that grinding, what we all have gone through. Yeah.
So we spoke about some technical aspects of finance, right? And it's often associated with those nerdy hote hain. Their dressing sense and all is for them not a second, third, last priority, right? And in our field of finance, where you have these guys who are constantly just reading, they don't know what they're paying. You would still say that even in a field like finance, which is all about knowledge, because this is what sells, right? Your knowledge sells at the end of the day. People often don't look at a personality. But still, would you say that leadership and communication is very important? If yes, how can one blend that particular thing?
So, most of the corporate trainings that I do essentially have to do with people in the technical field. So, IT, finance. And I was very surprised that there was one training that I got a call for one-on-one. It was for a doctor. And my question, the first question was like, why does a doctor need to do anything that has to do with clothes? And they had a uniform. So, when they had this typical pant and shirt that they were the blue color. So I think there was a doctor who came to me and I told him, whatever clothes you wear, please send a picture. And there was the same uniform with the Crocs that they wear. And he was a dentist. Okay. So the fundamental question I asked is, why do you need my help in training or leadership? So he said, when I'm a dentist, I don't work for a hospital or something. I have my own practice. Now, when I have my own practice, it also has to do a lot with how I speak to my patients, how I speak to my colleagues who are with me in the office. And a large part of people who are doctors plus entrepreneurs who have their own setup, and I'm assuming I'm extending that to finance professionals or IT professionals, after a point, you have to go beyond your technical skills. So the moment I start working as a teacher, it's important for me to know the teaching well. But as I graduate to become a program in charge, head of department, apart from knowing the subject, I also need to know how can I get something done from XYZ person and who is the right person to do that XYZ work. That requires a little bit of understanding of the team. How will you understand the team if you have not had conversations with the team to know who is really good at what? So leadership is not just about delegating and making people do work for you. Why will people do work for you if they don't relate to you? So today when we spoke about a Pethe ma'am, we worked for her because we saw what she wants to do and we identified with her, and we could do that with her. And I'm sure I in my life, I have had all bosses who were excellent. Till date, I don't have any boss immediate bosses. Right from my, in Dhanukar, I was having a boss called Sucheta ma'am. So she was the one who taught me. To NM, I've had Conrad sir, I've had Hina ma'am, I've had a colleague called Rita. All my bosses were brilliant. So what they've taught me in this entire gamut is that you need to have some personal conversations, and that is what brings out the best leadership in you. It was Pethe ma'am who spoke to me to understand there's a thirst that this girl has to do something and prove something. But ये conversations ही अगर नहीं होते, how would she have led a team? So leadership, when we speak about leadership, it's important to let these techies or let these people in the technical industry know that beyond data, it's important for you to connect with the stories with your team. It's important as a leader for you to say, hey, hello, it's your birthday today, come let's celebrate. That gives them a different satisfaction as well, apart from giving them just an increment for a Diwali. So today, if you speak to Gen Zs and if you ask them, because I take a small topic in human resource management, when I ask the kids, what is it that you want the most from your boss? And they said, we want love and we want to be treated like people. He or she cannot treat me like trash. Now, reason why they can say this to us is because my grandfather worked for survival. My father worked for survival for a large part of his life, and then he went to what he liked. Because both the generations worked well, I could make a choice, मेरे को 2 साल काम नहीं करना है. My son can make a choice, मेरे को जिंदगी भर काम नहीं करना है. So now, if I'm getting people who have had the legacy of decent money, they are not working for survival. They are working for people who can identify with them and who can relate to them, and thus lessons of communication, leadership is important because they relate to them as better bosses. They relate to people who create a vibe. Now, what is this vibe? The vibe is the look of the office, the look of the boss, along with the feel of the office and the feel of the boss. And this is an amalgamation of dressing and communication and leadership. And thus, I feel it's important to have conversations like this even in tech fields.
I know we play this part on you continuously because when we make this office, my father-in-law steps in and he just looks at it and he says, wow, you're in an ended space. You've done so much of culture on it. And I just felt that in this case, when we are working, it is necessary. But to explain somebody from the 60s, 70s, it becomes very difficult. So some of our clients also, when they come here, they are just like, are you serious? You don't own this place. And I said, but the kind of diaspora that works over here, the team that we have is between 28 to 30 people. And they need a good place to work in because now the world is expecting very different things.
Yes.
And the second part is I am a big proponent of EQ over IQ. And I said, and I keep on saying that IQ one can master at the art, but EQ is one day on ground. And since you kind of mentioned what is raising always wants nowadays, I want to tell this on you. I tell you to say, okay, where is the
Straight on the
exactly in the right direction. And how you treat people has become so much more right now. But now the current generation, the kind of interface also that we do, they're so clear what they want. Sahi galat
नहीं पता. Yes.
पता भाई clear कि मुझे ये चाहिए. And I mean, I look at when I went to BWC porting, I was like, अरे मुझे job मिल रहा है. They know I'll be grateful for it. And I even have a choice, but tuition is very different. So that's where the communication part and everything. I just wanted to ask as a question, and is something tried to that whenever anybody comes to an interview, the first thing I check is a person's sheets. And that kind of tells a lot about the person. Is that true?
So there are different people who look at different things. Now, generally when we do first impressions, we say there are three things which affect the first impression. The presenter, like me presenting, the presentee, that is you who is seeing how I present myself, and the third one is the surrounding. Now, a large part of how you see me has to do with how you feel you should see me. For example, if I come for an interview, okay, you are going to imagine if you would have gone for the interview, how you would have presented yourself. So a large part of your evaluation of me comes from what you think is your version of a good presentation. So today when I'm going to judge some other teacher, it's going to be on the basis of what I feel a teacher should do or how should a teacher be. And that is exactly when we do leadership, we tell ourselves and the clients and whom we have conversations with, that's the lens you need to remove. Now, it might be something very important to me. Like for me, if you ask me, I feel when I speak to people, I look at their nails. So if your nails are not clean, for me, that talks a lot about hygiene.
True.
So, and why is that very important? Because maybe that matters to me. Let's say if I go to an interview of a person for whom knowledge or IQ is everything, the person might not even care what I'm wearing because it doesn't matter to him or her. So this is the brief that I give that you have to remove your lens. But the brief that I give the person who is coming for the interview is, you need to know what that person would have liked if you're going for the interview.
How do you know that? How do I know?
So I'll tell you something, that's the research, that it's very important. Like, there was one session I did for Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and it was a session for Women's Day. So I got a call saying, why don't you do body shape and clothing? Different body shapes ke liye, what type of clothing? I said, okay. Chartered Accountants. So I'd done this already for Institute of Company Secretaries ka Bhainder chapter. I think wahan se kahin reference mila hoga. When I went to that chapter, the first question I asked is, when you have these Women's Day session, what kind of clothes do the women wear? They said, we all come in blazers. I wore a blazer and I went over there. When I went to ICAI and I asked, what kind of things do women wear there? They said saris. I wore a sari over there. I did a same session the next year for Women's Day for a pharma company. I asked, what are women wearing? They said, we're all wearing pink. I wore a pink skirt and a white shirt. Now, what is the point? The point is, if I have to feel one amongst them, what I do has to do with the research of what they are going to do.
So there is receptibility.
Yes. Or more than a receptibility, the ability that you have taken efforts to identify and be one of them. So I feel such kind of things are very important to show that person that I have actually taken out time to understand this ecosystem and space. I feel that's very important.
If I just take the leap out of what you say, next time I meet a 60-year-old client, I kurta pajama.
Not necessary. अगर उसे कोई कुर्ता पैजामा पसंद है, it would be great. But that's a choice. See, I'll tell you something. We don't force people to do that. Let's say I'm meeting a farmer. Okay, if I'm meeting a farmer is now tech equipped. He has changed his way of dressing and all, great. But if I'm meeting a farmer who feels that he's very simple and simple dressing is great, even if I'm going for a business meeting, a nice cotton sari would be better than a blazer. That's the difference I'm trying to see. I'm not trying to say mold your personality to be something you're not.
Yeah.
But you can try to adapt to the culture and the ecosystem that you're going to. When we do trainings for the people who are in colleges, I can go in a t-shirt and a shirt. I can go in a t-shirt and a jeans also. Because that's relatability for them.
Yeah.
Now, do I have to do that? Answer is no. We suggest it to the client, saying if you feel you would want to do that, please do it. Otherwise, also, there's a book of Sudha Murthy which clarifies this. There's a book called 3000 Stitches which speaks about how she had gone to meet the Devdasis. And they couldn't identify with her because she was wearing a pant and a shirt and a Nehru jacket, which they identified as a representation of somebody who's a journalist. And they didn't want to speak to the journalist. So these could also be some of the problems that could come up with if there is no relatability.
Honestly. So the moral is that irrespective of the profession, these things too carry some weight because there's more relatability, there's more acceptability, and your message can go across very to whomever you're communicating. But this as the last piece to this person, say if you're going for an interview, right? There are certain nowadays which you would never want to cross, right? I mean, I interviewed somebody 3 weeks back and then Lori came in her jeans and I talked. And then obviously when I kind of probed her, I said the interview went well, but 2 things I didn't like. And I said, one of the things was this. And then the answer I gave was also little casual that I was leave any which way, I had an off day. I was too bored to come. I had an interview, so I just wore whatever I wanted when I came. And that some things not accepted.
Yes.
And that's like that certain thing that you cannot cross is the name of comfort or relatability.
Yes.
And as well as I might be in jeans that day, but I would not want the candidate sitting in front of me. So how does that issue?
Yes, so that's where we tell people that I've always told this to my Gen Z. You make a choice as to how you want to conduct and carry yourself. You don't make a choice for the consequence of it. You have decided, मेरे को jeans पहन के जाना है, no problem. That's a choice you make.
True.
You have no control over the consequence. I make, or what is my response to the action you take.
Understood.
And you can't expect that from me.
Understood.
So if you are saying, doing this is your choice, not liking what you're wearing is my choice. And you need to learn to deal with that. So it's very important to establish that also to them. So if I'm saying I'm a rebel, either with or without a cause, it comes with certain consequences, so be okay with it. If you're okay, fine. If you're not okay, it's and the moment you tell it this way to the Gen Z, now they are like, अच्छा आप सोचते हैं. I've figured one thing in so many years of teaching and with the Gen Z specifically, if you tell them तुम्हें नहीं करना है, they will put in every iota of energy to do it. The moment you tell them, देख मुझे ऐसा लगता है, करना है तो कर, नहीं करना है मत कर. They might think.
Well, I keep telling me, so I used to fight on a lot of things. And no. That can't tickle. Just put that door and you leave. And that works wonders because and you put the opposite person in this point.
Yeah, I had different mindset and thought process from what she's telling for a major part of my professional life. And I used to think that if I have knowledge, it's seen on my face, it can be heard through my conversation. It's okay whatever I wear. And I had a bet with my brother. He had some work in Lalit International. So I was I had not shaved for a week or so. I was wearing a slipper, jeans and a gharka t-shirt. I had a mobile phone in my hand. We had to go to Lalit International Hotel. I told him, I'll go inside, do your work, and nobody will stop me. So we went to Lalit International Hotel with a mobile phone in my hand. I just put the phone on my ears and I started talking to my brother in English, and I was just waiting. The security guy saluted. He's like, "हाँ साहब आओ करके." He didn't even bother to check whether I was well dressed. I was just wearing a घर का पायल का गोवा वाला 20 rupees वाला slippers. And I went inside. I did that work. I came out and I told my brother, "See, it's seen on my face." I was wrong, by the way. There it worked as an exception maybe, and I was in Mahindra and Mahindra, and it was Friday, and I did not shave on that particular day, and I said it's okay. I was wearing a casual attire, and I wore a floaters and went to office. And my boss, who was damn against me, okay, he looked at me and he said, यार क्या शेव नहीं किया? महिंद्रा pays you enough salary. नहीं है पैसा तो बोल, I'll give you 5 rupees, get Gillette Pesto and shave करके आओ. कल को आनंद बुलाएगा, आनंद महिंद्रा बुलाएगा, तो ऐसे जाएगा क्या ऊपर? And that I felt so insulted and humiliated that day and this day. I ensure that I'm dressed for the occasion. Yeah, maybe thoda plus minus is okay, but then I'm not comfortable wearing tie. So none of the interviews that I've given 100 plus interviews. I've never worn a tie except for one place where I was called to JW Merit, and their condition was you must wear a tie and a blazer. Other than that, I've never worn a tie because that makes me uncomfortable. But then I agree to her point. For a large part of my life, I have that impression in my mind that if I have knowledge, other things are immaterial. But no, now having knowledge and presenting your knowledge is different thing. People perceive you differently if you are not well dressed. So that's relevant. That the point. I completely buy your point on that.
And also one very interesting point which you made is that you can do what you want. You didn't want that. So and it's an important learning over here because I travel learning to wear laces. How much ever a formal labor did to EP, I will max wear a shirt and a tie. And I'll never have a place. But if I have to kind of try to match up for it, I started wearing jackets.
Yeah.
So at least it looks more comfy.
Yes.
But I still don't take away from the fact that I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, even blazer makes me
So
uncomfortable.
this is exactly what we say. Like you've added a third layer, but that was not a match suit. That's where your personality stays intact, and we give you recommendations based on what you can do to stand in the. So when we speak about image building or personal branding, this is what you just said is exactly what we try to do. Your personality should not be compromised, but if you have to up the game, what is the best you could do keeping your personality intact?
And I was right.
Yes.
So, Rege sir, it is one thing that you would want your students to unlearn from a finance perspective. What is that one thing?
See, I want them to be realistic, focused, and I want them to have knowledge about the basics. They all are crazy about marks, their numbers, their grades, what package I am going to get. One good thing my first boss had told me that whenever you are in crisis, go back to your basics. So this is something that, I've interviewed some students, some chartered accountants also. They know everything. They are fantastic with their communication skills. They know what's happening across the world. But when I ask them to write the journal entry, they are not aware what is debit and what is credit. One of the chartered accountant told me that it happens in SAP, it's directly, the entries are posted. I said, write down the journal entry. And a chartered accountant says me, sorry sir, I'm not aware about the journal entries. So they don't go back to their basics, they just do a superficial job, they get good grades and they feel that they have got everything, but these marks, it's irrelevant in the corporate world. I mean, my marks, if I tell you, you will run away from the room. I just barely got 61% in my third year BCom. And considering today's world, it was B or B plus grade, which is nothing for these guys. So they need to ensure that their fundamentals are clear, whatever work they do. They, as we already discussed, they are looking for instant gratification, quick money. But there are no fundamentals. The lowest layer has to be strong. The construction, the base has to be strong. Otherwise, the building will collapse very soon. And I'm feeling bad for the generation. They are not on the right track. They are not on the right track. Trust me.
I mean, that's why it's my personal favorite, but 3 Idiots is my favorite meaning. And there's so many amazing lessons in that. That one can learn about the education system and what not to do.
Yeah. And see, again a movie called Chichore, I accidentally saw that movie.
Amazing.
And I can watch it again and again, like how to handle failures. I mean, we never teach our kids how to handle failure. My mom, dad, especially my mom used to be after my life, how many marks you scored. There was a girl who used to stay next door. She's of my age only, and she used to clear all her exams in first attempt, and I used to flunk in my CMA attempts. And my mom used to say, "See, the girls are intelligent. मुली तो अभ्यास करता, तुम्ही लोग को फिरत रहता, आप लोग ही घूमते रहते हो, नहीं होता है." And I used to hate that girl. कि यार क्या है ये? See, it's like nobody teaches you how to handle failure, and this is something which I bring in my lectures. During the normal course of lecture also, I spare 5-10 minutes of time or maybe a lecture or two towards this, that how to handle failures. Like for my CMA final exam, I failed 4 times and I cleared 5th time. I was so close to commit suicide. Like with the constant failures, and the marriage going away from me, every 6 months I fail, the 6 months are lost. The marriage goes away. She was Gujarati, 1 year elder to me, and then you know how things are in Gujarati families. So I was drunk and sleeping on Gindam Chopati that I want to end my life and all that. But then that we learned it hard way. But then these guys are, I don't know, they don't know how to handle failures, to be honest.
But on a lighter note, must be tough there, but today forms a great part of a biography.
Yeah, I tell these stories to my students. Actually, luckily for me, that day we had got our conveyance allowance, which we used to get in cash, and it was 200-300 rupees. It was a huge amount. So the entire afternoon I drank, I smoked, and I slept on Gurgaon Chopati, and I was about to walk into the sea, sitting there. ये दुनिया में फिल्म मेरे काम की नहीं, right? And today I laugh over it, but then I wonder there must be thousands of such students who are failing in these exams, and how are they handling it? Their parents are consistently after their life, कब pass होगा, and that pressure is bad. Let me tell you, like I used to study at night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. ऐसे गर्दन गिर जाती थी, फिर यहाँ से अरे शादी 6 महीने और दूर जाएगी, चलो भाई पढ़ाई करते हैं. We should teach our kids how to handle failures, and unfortunately every parent wants his son or daughter to be successful. What if she or he fails? I heard Harsha Bhogle saying it somewhere that in Australian Army, when they built elite commando force, they don't select you unless you have failed in your life once at least. Because as a commando, if you encounter a failure, you should know how to react to that. If you are a success story all throughout, you will not know अगर failure होता है तो क्या करना है. So they don't select you over there unless you have failed in your life. So I think everybody should fail at least once in life. And younger the age, that is better, because at my age we have no chance of second chance. But at younger age, they definitely have. They should make most of it.
Oh, what an interesting combo we have. You learned dance and drama. And you came from there. He already did it by himself.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
We
used to dance in Ganpati procession,
And then the drama that they were in that way.
Exactly.
But, one thing you mentioned in your earlier times of doing dance and all that, if I can connect in some ways, extracurricular activity is so important in one's life, because what success, failure that you talk, since you learn dance, I'm sure your guru, you would have to perform every day a show, or be at your optimum best. And if you're not, then listen to those things from your guru. That really shapes your personality, because then you were humiliated also in front of 10 students, 10 friends of yours. you cry also, and then you get an allele issue also. So extracurricular, that's an important part, which is not the thing right now. If I look at it, for education, phonics class करवाने हैं and all those things.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm not going to deny any word that you've mentioned. Yeah, it doesn't exist, but if you go back to the conversation that we were having during the break, I feel a large part of it also has to do with us as parents. What happens if my son doesn't do his homework? I'm like, kar. Teacher chillaye. Okay, chillane de. Let the child be scolded in the school. Let the child come to me and say, I'm scolded at the school. And that time as a parent, I'm supposed to say, you made a choice of not doing the homework. So you got scolded. And now you can't complain because you did your job and the teacher did his or her. That's where I think parenting plays a very significant role. So today when we speak about extracurriculars, I blame the education institution. I blame us as parents. On those students, as we rightly said, phonics and all, who cares? I never did phonics in my life. Okay, I could have got better. How better? 20%, 30%? But at what opportunity cost? Today, if you ask me to go back to my college life, and do you want to rewind and do something different, wherein you didn't do a time pass for 2-3 years, failed your CA, if you want to go back, erase those and maybe turn it into a story wherein I did something like a BMM, came first and all, do I want to relive it again? My answer is no. In the bargain, I can't lose all the friends who taught me one of the most important lessons of my life. But as a parent, do I tell the same to my children? It's okay to lose one exam, but not that friend.
Exactly.
How do I expect them to be great caretakers of their grandparents if I don't tell them, today Nana is not well, na, stay at home, don't go to school? So as a parent, I am responsible. As an educational institution, I am responsible to tell the child. I'll give an example. Just 2 days ago, one of my students called me and said, my grandfather is on the deathbed, Nan, and he was crying on the phone, I want to go home. So I told him, okay, see, if you don't give the exam, you have to give a re-exam, and if you don't clear that, you'll get a drop. So I'm informing you about the examination policy. Tujhe kya karna hai? He's like, ma'am, aap batao. I'm like, I don't decide your life. If you feel you want to go back to your grandfather, which on a personal note, I feel you should go and see him, be there when he passes away. So that one re-exam, agar aap doge, it's okay. It's okay. But your grandfather, that soul will always remember you were there when he passed away. So I've lived with my grandparents all my life, and I call it boasting, call it whatever. I have been there for my grandfather throughout his journey of the tumor that he had lately till he passed away. And it is no favor, I just reciprocated for whatever love he gave me when my parents were working. So it is my parents who taught this to me. I've always lived in a joint family. So it is my parents who told me, it's fine if you're doing CA, VA, whatever. दादाजी का कीमोथेरेपी है, उधर कोकिला बहन में बैठना है दिन भर, उनको घर लेके आना है. They don't care. So a large part of me taking care of people around has to do with parenting, has to do with friends who had similar kind of parents. So
That's actually a very important point. You might be taught something at home.
Yes.
The peer group is
Yes.
not
छोड़ने यहाँ चल जाते हैं.
And I think it's I have one of the best friends anybody in this world can ask for. I don't want to trade off any of my friends for any money in this world, because that's the kind of blessing I have. All educationers, people, most of my friends are chartered accountants also. So it is so beautifully connected. They're all from different fields, but there is one thing that we all share in common, is that I think we all want to unlearn the way of life and make it into something which is more fulfilling rather than competing. And if I have to answer that question, what is the one thing the kids need to unlearn? They need to unlearn way of life. What their way of life is, they need to unlearn that. Way of life is very different and can be very self-satisfactory. I think that is what.
And competition ideally has no place.
See, competition is beautiful. But, okay, I'll put it across this way. My son is running a 100-meter race, and so is his friend. his friend wins and my son comes second. What is my initial reaction? Why can't I teach my son? He who came second and he came first, clap for him first.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I learned from Sitare Zameen Par. And Amir Khan was like, "Arey yaar, they lost," but they were all clapping, saying, "Hey, we came second."
Yeah.
So it is a matter of perception that yes, you were into a competition, you appreciated the competitor for performing better than you didn't sulk saying it was not my day.
Yeah.
I think these things are pretty important to make competition fun.
And the first also has to realize the value of first is there because there are second, third, fourth. Otherwise,
Yes, and how you handle success when you are at the top also teaches a lot to others. And how you handle failure when you're at the bottom also teaches a lot to others. So I think all of this is way of life, all of this is life, and acceptance is paramount.
Well, since the last 5-7 years, what you said, and I remember this one thing. Every time, I was not a bright student at all, a very average student. Every time I used to not get good marks, that's my expectation. I used to call my dad and tell him that I'm sorry. I'll do it next time. Remember, my dad used to say this one day. पास हुआ तो भी तेरे मार्क्स से, फेल हुआ तो भी तेरे मार्क्स से, जो भी है तेरा है. So whatever it is, think it through and then do it. And that kind of creates a sense of onus and responsibility rather than he or she just, like even my mom said the same thing, just pushing you to study. And they're like, if you fail, you have to face the world. Even if you pass, those are all your efforts that you don't want to clap for you. You're not going to clap for me. So you just take that up and up. But that kind of is, I know, missing when too much attachment happens, by parents to his or her kid, and then the entire house comes crumbling down as you were talking. It's from the.
And most of the times what happens, parents, if they don't get anything in their life, they feel that their students should get it. And then the expectations come, and then the fear of losing out, and then, they start expecting things which they haven't done in their life, or they never got. See, मुझे कभी साइकिल नहीं मिली, मैं बच्चे को साइकिल ला के दे रहा हूँ. वहाँ तक वो ठीक होता है, but then मुझे इंजीनियर बना था, मैं नहीं बन पाया, so my son should be an engineer. My son is a chef, so we all belong to accounting, finance background, and then my son said, I want to do something else. I said, go ahead, do it. I have no issues with that. So it's okay. And she mentioned about phonics and all that. In Marathi medium school, we didn't even know what phonics meant.
And you did very well.
Yeah, I don't think I've done too badly.
I commend him. I think this can go on and on.
It can.
I really enjoy this, but there's this one last piece which the team really puts it to take up.
That's our
the quirky, Gen Z side of things. So
rapid fire.
No, not rapid fire, but some interesting questions. So after they're going to say "bol ho rahe but shabd hamare," it's not. So if finance were a person to you, Rahi sir.
Sorry.
If finance were a person, how would you describe their personality? Calm and composed like a monk, or an unpredictable like a stock market?
Unpredictable like stock market.
Okay. Now calm and composed. Okay. To you, ma'am, imagine a classroom of the future. What would be the one subject or experience you will make compulsory for every student?
Civility. Civic sense. That should be a subject because people lack one.
Can I say something very radical? Like this particular thing, 2 weeks back I discovered in the parking lot of the building, commercial premises like our offices, right? And I was taking a turn, and that person taking a reverse of that. Still, he came behind me, and I had to wait for some time. And then the watchman had to come and tell him, "Sir, piche ro, ye baak kar rahe." And I realized that civic sense is actually counter-intuitive to India. Because civic sense होगा तो वो वॉचमैन की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी.
Correct.
और वो वॉचमैन की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी तो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ जाएगा. So somewhere of the civic sense नहीं है ना, तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट की एक्चुअली मतलब एम्प्लॉयमेंट ही ना पड़ेगी.
That's the perspective I never saw.
And I actually saw.
You don't need killing stuff in India in that case.
Because then there will be so much of problem of unemployment. Now, I'm not demeaning anybody.
Yeah.
But a watchman, that is where becomes critical. Because we don't have civic sense.
I think if we have one, that watchman can become a financial analyst and contribute to the economy.
I don't deny that, but still you're looking at money for capital.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere, it kind of balances out, and I have good thought stability and civic sense, because I just returned from a foreign country, and the moment you step out and order the airport, you're like, "Arey yaar, yahan pe civic sense to hai nahi." Because you come from a foreign country, it is exactly opposite. It is the most similarity. And then I realized, there is method, or there is some kind of positivity in this.
In US, they don't honk. If you're crossing the road, the car will stop. They'll allow you to cross the road and then they'll go.
Agreed, but फिर cops की जरूरत नहीं है.
जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा.
Unemployment बढ़ जाएगा.
और ट्रैफिक पुलिस क्या करेगा?
Traffic police क्या करेगा? तो actually I started thinking in that manner. Very stupid, but I thought of it. Very honest. To you, sir, was the strangest or the funniest question a student has ever asked you? In fact, both of you can take that in class.
In fact, there are two such questions. A student once asked me, "Sir, what's your age? And describe me your love life." To which I said, that's the personal boundary that you're not supposed to cry.
Wow, that's audacious.
Yeah.
No, nobody has the guts to ask this to me. You can ask Karan what my reputation in the college is. I'm very strict. So nobody, I don't think they can even ask this question to me.
In fact, the exactly opposite of this is when I was down with COVID. There was a class, the division which I was heading in Lanokar College. A CR of that division texts me that, "Sir, don't worry, fight it out. We all are fasting for you." The entire class fasted for me for a day. And whether that's true or false, I don't know, but at least it was very true.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that's exactly opposite to this particular question.
That's sweet.
No, this is very audacious.
Yeah.
I didn't know my teacher was married or not. How can you ask this? Crazy. But to you?
I think the question that actually I didn't know how to react was, there was a student who was really well off and came from a very, very big business background. And somehow he felt I had this knack for speaking and whatever, marketing or whatever. He said, "Ma'am, I really like your lectures and I think you're really good at what you do. You put a price. I'll match that salary. Please join our organization."
Wow.
And I was just shocked. It's right in after the lecture, somebody's telling me to quit my job and join his business, and he's told me he's going to match my salary, give me incentives. If I want to live in Delhi, he can arrange for my stay and everything in Delhi. And I really didn't know how to take that question.
As well.
That's what I said. I didn't know how to take the question. I don't know whether it was flattering. I don't know whether it was sarcastic. I really don't know what to make out of it, but it was quite shocking.
I don't know why it's coming when it's you answering, but I see a bit of a Beti ma'am over there. Identifying talent. When I say you come and work for me. Right?
Yeah, but that was very...
audacious again.
No, it wasn't offensive at all, not at all.
Maybe ask better, say put a price or something.
No, but again, I have very politely said no, but I didn't feel it was disrespectful at all. He said it very nicely, and as you said, I could take it in the flattering way also, but this was something I didn't expect.
Right, yeah.
So
but
that's the reason.
Full marks on that, show that vision and say like, okay.
And that's when I got my first hint. मैं कुछ कर सकती हूँ. Because your biggest critic.
So now you owe to unwork person.
Yeah, I owe it to people maybe sometimes whose name also I don't know. In small ways they have contributed to my success.
In fact, recently one student came to me and told me that, "Sir, as someone told you that you look like S. Jaishankar." I said, "क्यों मस्का मार रहा है यार? मार्क्स दे दूंगा तुझे."
Now I think that's the way.
After a second.
Yeah, I feel so.
नहीं.
So if you're teaching philosophy had a tagline again to both of you, like an ad campaign, what would it be?
Philosophy. Sneha, you go first.
I'm thinking. I'll need a moment to think. If my teaching.
I mean, if you get it right, you can use it for like corporate trainings also.
And that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, for me it's Ye Dil Mange More.
Okay.
And I borrowed this from the original source, Captain Vikram Batra, not from the movie Sher Shah. It's from, I've seen that war. I was following that particular war and I've read through all And in fact, I'd seen that interview on the television, and the next day it sadly came.
I'm not able to think of one. Philosophy. I don't know. Maybe zindagi na milegi dobara. So make the most of it in this life. Maybe. I don't know.
Or you say something about, learn the heart of understanding life.
Or maybe ikigai.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Like that. Okay.
Ikigai.
The purpose.
I'm not able to think on my feet now, but yeah, something on finding a purpose. My tagline would revolve around something.
Interesting. Last few questions. I have made a couple. Let's play a little imagination game. If you want to design a course together, what would you call it? And what would the first lesson be? Both of you. Yeah?
I think we would design a course on management lessons we learned at Dhanokar College.
Yeah.
And that would be interesting.
And that will be the biggest tribute to that college.
That
Yes.
college, and we have friends, we've learned from our friends, and I think the two of us will be able to really give good life lessons and anecdotes
Exactly.
from our experience in
Experience in
Dhanokar.
Dhanokar.
Management, 10 important management
I think
lessons.
irrespective of this, you should still do it.
Yeah.
It's a great.
Yeah, and I would say based on my corporate experience, how to handle boss. I mean, I take those sessions for these young kids and
Don't speak to our team.
no, I mean, I've worked with 46 boss. The current boss of mine is my 46th boss. And I have story with each one of them. Most of the stories are good, but
You can write a
few
book.
I'm thinking of, to be honest.
Yeah, you
I'm really thinking of.
Yeah, it will be great, and then you have an.
But then I'll be jailed if I start putting my boss's name and the company's name in that. It'll be an infringement of
Defamation.
copyright or defamation.
Okay.
So Sneha is willing to pay for the legal fees.
Sorry.
Her husband is into law.
If I had 100 MRF shares, I would have paid.
And she's not in it with you with
No,
this.
no. I don't want to land in any trouble, court case, legal.
Course संगीत है.
In Dhanokar,
Ikigai. कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं चाहिए.
in Dhanokar, we have handled enough trouble together. Not anymore.
One last question. If you could teach finance or management through a movie, which film would you pick and why?
Finance through a movie.
I think for me, I would have taught management through 2 movies. There are small anecdotes. One is the one that you shared, 3 Idiots, and the other one is Tare Zameen Par. I think a lot of anecdotes about managing people can be learned from these 2 films.
I think Scam of 92, to learn what one should not do.
Okay.
Yeah, Scam of 92 or the similar movie was made starring Abhishek Bachchan and I don't remember the name, Bazaar, yeah.
Movie?
I
I think it was Saif Ali Khan.
No, Saif Ali Khan was Bazaar, and with Abhishek Bachchan also one movie was shot.
Guru.
No, not Guru. That was on Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani. Abhishek Bachchan wala movie on Harshad Mehta only. I've seen it recently, and I found it much better than Scam of 92. Because Scam of 92, they have dried it unnecessarily, keeping the names same. Here they have changed the names and all, but it's more crisp and to the point. Abhishek Bachchan and remember the name. He was the Bazaar. I can't think.
I think that makes us to the end. I did not that I think, but I genuinely feel we could have gone for a long time. It's really enjoying, and as I mentioned, the way it's by far been one of the best conversations that I had. Thank you. Really, every second of it. And here's a great thing to get 2 people together. I thought, nahi hona mujhse. But I really enjoyed this nice educational triangle that we had for the last 2 hours. And thank you so much for being so candid. Lot many takeaways. But the biggest takeaway is if ever any of my 5 team members remembers me like Miss Pete,
Yeah.
that means there's life well in the water.
Yes. Absolutely.
Kudos to her. Kudos to you all. to still remember her so fondly. And thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
This day of starting early on a weekday, they managed to spend this time with us. And I'm very, very sure that your students, your colleagues, and our audience will love every bit of the different avatar that they have seen today for the past years. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I also would like to say that never done this kind of candid podcast. We've been in a podcast earlier, but well short, maybe lyrics the content or script is known prior earlier. So I didn't know what are we going to bring to the table, but I think you also drove the conversation very beautifully. Thank you so much for your time and for everybody's time, for your time.
Yeah. I think that reciprocity matters, right? As you say that, the opposite person plays the best out. So I was enjoying every hour.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. And I wish we had few more hours because I wanted to desperately discuss my bosses with you. Maybe another day we can do that.
I have heard that enough. I don't want to listen to that.
So there are some more additions after I joined my new institution.
We're going to separately. But thank you so much. Once again, wishing you all the best and prosperity.
Yeah, thank you. Wish you the same, and thank you to my student, Ritwija.
And I say to Karan.
Without that, we would not have you. Real answer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.